Republicans want to revisit the health care debate. The GOP is pushing a broad tax cut for businesses and many individuals. The cuts include a repeal of the Obamacare law requiring Americans to have health insurance. The House is voting on its tax reform bill tomorrow. Joining us now is Representative Mike Kelly, a Republican from Pennsylvania who serves on the House Ways and Means Committee, the chief tax writing committee in the House. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, Lauren. Good to talk to you.
You too. Will you be able to come to an agreement with the Senate in order to get this tax bill to the president's desk by Christmas?
Well, you know what? We have a very strong person sitting in the White House right now and a guy who really is able to put deals together. It's going to be difficult because tax reform is difficult. It's very complicated, but I think we're going to have a driving force that does get us there. There's some things in the Senate bill that I'm not quite on board with yet, but we'll look at it and we'll get something to the president that he can eventually sign and really make America boom again.
Let's talk about the Johnson Amendment. It's the provision in the tax code that prohibits nonprofit organizations like charities and churches from campaign activity, and the House and Senate bills would repeal this amendment. But some critics feel that this repeal would lead to corruption in the church, and there are Catholic groups that want to keep their tax exempt status. So what makes sense, repeal or no repeal?
Well, listen, I can tell you, for me speaking as a Catholic, I can remember sitting down with my priest, Father Harry, and going through my confession. And at the end of it, after he gave me my penance, I said, Father, are you going to speak out at all on the life issues that we have in this current election? And this is back when President Obama was running. He said, I can't speak from the pulpit about that. We're not allowed to. I said, wait a minute, you're who I go to for any type of moral leadership and for religious conviction. That's the most important part of who we are. Why can't you talk about it? He says, well, we've just been advised that if we do, it's going to interfere with our tax-free status. And I thought at that point, have we come to a place in America where our religious leaders have got to guard their speech because of a tax situation and what could possibly happen? I don't think there's anything that I feel as an American that's more important to me than issues of life at all stages. And I thought this was kind of odd that we would try to tamp down the ability of us to go to our church, listen to our leaders, our faith leaders, our religious leaders, and get their opinion so that we can come to a decision about what's best for us and how we would vote.
Speaking of life issues, you pushed to keep the adoption tax credit in the House bill. You were applauded for that by your colleagues. Some advocates, though, are still worried that it could be taken out. What do you say to them?
Well, you know what? That's my job, and that's the job of all of us to make sure that it doesn't get taken out, that it does stay in. And when it comes to matters of life, I think that's one thing that I've always been perplexed about. People say, we have to have a debate about this issue. I said, when we have to stop and debate on life issues, something's gone wrong as a culture, not only as a country and as a nation. So I thought it was really important.
Thank you so much for joining us, Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania.
Thank you.